Hi everyone, welcome back to the Cornish Stitcher. This is episode 9 of the podcast. If you're new here, you're very welcome. Come in, take a seat, grab a cup of tea, and come and spend some time. If you're a returning viewer, welcome back. Thank you for coming back. If you haven't already and you like what you see, then please hit the subscribe button and the like button, and feel free to make any comments. I love reading the comments. So yes, thank you. Welcome back. I'm sorry it's taken a few weeks to come back to you. School holidays here involve lots of plate spinning. And we spent some time away. We went to Northumberland for a few days with my sister and her family, and that was really lovely. It was just really nice. We stayed in a totally different place to where we stayed before. We've always been on the coast, and this time we were sort of about half an hour inland, which was really, really nice. And we had a lovely time all together. Beach days and a zoo and and we frequented a yarn shop or two. More on that later. But yes, so this is a podcast around knitting, crochet, wool yarn, and some sewing. So yeah, make yourself at home. So first thing I'm going to talk about is my finished object that I'm wearing. Yay, finally. So this has taken up most of my time, and just in time for the weather this week has cooled slightly. So yeah, I will pop some pictures up here of myself wearing it so that you can see all the way. But this is a reading shawl by, bear with me, Ophelia Talks. It's on Ravelry. It's a paid for pattern, and I used it to use up, I've made it to use up quite a lot of my stash. It's used 500 grams, I believe, of yarn, and 4 ply held double, and I'll tell you each of the yarns in turn. So this top part here is Rosie's Moments in Blue Seas, which I got, I think, at Yarndale last year. And then here is Pixie Yarns in Big Sky. We then go on down here to a one-of-a-kind on a classic sock base by Blue Fern Yarns, which I love. It was greeny bluey hues. It was really lovely. And then the last section here was by a shop we went to visit in Northumberland called Fine Fettle Fibres, and this is it. It's in a small village, and this colourway is Kielder Water. It's really warm. I love it. It's really soft. I didn't need to block it. It's just a 2-row repeat throughout, and it just grows and grows and grows. Actually, I'll stand up and show you what I mean about the back. So it's designed so that it covers your back, so that rather than a triangular shawl which leaves you slightly cool in the kidney area, etc., this is designed so that you are able to keep the whole of your back and the sides warm, and its purpose is for me to be able to go and walk on the beach or sit on the beach on a late summer's, early autumn, late spring, early summer next year's evening, without getting freezing cold, but without the need for big fleeces, etc. But yeah, it's really cozy. I might use it in here when I'm working as well, because it does leave you able to move your arms more freely. Yeah, so I really enjoyed it. As I say, two row repeat crocheted on a 4mm hook, just a clover hook was all my go-to, my favourites. And yeah, I just really love it. I love the colour gradient. I love how it's worked out. I thought initially that this change here probably should have been more gradual, but this was a DK weight and the rest were all 4-ply held double, so it wasn't very easy to try and transition them. But actually I'm really pleased with how it's worked out and really love it. So yeah, so that's my only fully finished object for crochet. My other finished objects are for sewing and for a really exciting project. So some of you may know, I have a small business called the Cornish Stitcher, which sells project bags, etc. And I have a stand coming up at Three Bags Fall Festival in Liskeard in Cornwall, which is my first in-person event, and I'm really excited about that. And I'll just show you a couple of the bags that will be coming with me. There's ones like this, some zips, fully lined bags, which and then some floral ones, and there's lots of different designs that are coming. But as part of that business, I also have an arm of the business that's around textile art, and have taken a course in the past year to develop my skills and continue on that course in a couple of weeks. But as part of that, I've been invited to join a local craft cooperative, and as part of that, they have an open studios event this coming weekend. So the 13th, 14th and 15th of September, and its theme is the local area's link to Cornish mining. So we were asked to produce textile, or well, not in my case textile art, but there are painters, there are sculptors, there are potters, there are many types of people in this cooperative and makers group, and I was asked if I would like to contribute something to an open studios event, and so these are two of my contributions. So I have, it's going to reflect unfortunately, but I'll pop a picture up here as well, but essentially I screen printed and then stitched and embroidered paths and foxgloves and things for that one, and then this one is the fauna and flora on the moors. So I have got those as exhibiting as part of a big exhibition and an open studios event this weekend, and I'm really excited and really quite proud but extremely nervous about them going in. I've also done some ferns and embroidered and stitched textile art over the top of those as well, so it's a real nerve-wracking time to exhibit, particularly locally, where you cannot remain anonymous no matter how much you try. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it, and the opening event is on Friday evening. So, but just if the imposter syndrome was real on podcasting, goodness me, the imposter syndrome for exhibition is really prominent. But yes, so that's those. And I'm really proud of them, and if no one wants them, then there's plenty of space in here that they can be displayed. Yes, so those, and I've also been working on which are in my Etsy shop, some Liberty bookmarks. So I've been using a range of Liberty fabrics in there in the Etsy shop. I'll pop a link to the Etsy shop down below, so if you want, you can have a perusal. So as I say, we had quite a busy summer, lots of days out, lots of things. The boys wanted to go to an event at Blenheim Palace at the end of August called Salon Privé. Both my boys are incredibly obsessed with supercars. The more unusual, more expensive, more impressive, the better. And so this is kind of the culmination of supercar year, and it's held at Blenheim Palace, where there were over 1,500 supercars and hypercars all gathered. And we went last year, and we took Monty this year because he didn't come with us last year. And yeah, to say they enjoyed themselves is pretty much an understatement. So yes, they loved it. But it meant that I got lots of time on the Saturday that we were at the event. There's only so many supercars that I can look at. They wanted to spend the whole day, so I plonked myself under a tree for a few hours and cast on a sock. So this is one of my whips. This is made, so this is in West Yorkshire Spinners. It's a Yarndale colourway, bear with me, that's not the list. I think it's the Hope, the Hope colourway, and it's just a toe up plain vanilla sock. I'm just on the heel, as you can see now, turning the heel. I always use the same pattern. I always use Wendy Poole's sock pattern because I know it and it's safe, and I've never done it. I keep saying I'm going to do a cuff down sock and I haven't yet. Maybe the next set. I'm going to take part in the Strictly Sock Along this year, so maybe that should be my aim, to do a cuff down. So these are, as I say, West Yorkshire Spinners Hope, Yarndale colourway. I love it. I love how the stripes are coming out. It was really, really lovely. It's exciting to see each new colour coming. Yeah, this is my first proper stripy sock, so I've really loved and enjoyed making it. I can't wait to get them now. I have to make sure I do not suffer from second sock syndrome. I'm planning on making these into shorties for myself, so I should be able to get at least 2 pairs out of those. Again, that ball of yarn again. And yeah, this is being held in a Stitched by Mrs. D bag, which I obviously love. A big fan of Poole. Yes, so I'm hoping that those will, but turning the heel is slightly more complicated, so it's currently not a TV watching project. When I get onto the leg, just the short part of the leg and the cast off, it will, and then I'll cast the other one on, and then hopefully knit till I get to the heel again. And I'm really enjoying making socks. They were a nemesis for a very long time, and a real kind of hurdle that I hadn't thought I would ever be able to cross. And learning the toe up technique seems to have transformed my understanding, and I think actually now I understand the formation of a sock, the heel, the foot, the cuff. I think maybe learning a cuff down will be simpler, but I've really loved doing them. I did get a little bit frustrated with Matt's ones that I very first made because they were a little bit complex, but just the understanding. But now I seem to have mastered it. I'm really pleased with how they've gone. Yeah. On to my next whip. My next whip I haven't got out here with me. It's my harvest cardigan. You might remember I was doing it last time. I'm making the harvest cardigan by Tin Can Knits. It's a free pattern. And I'm knitting it in Starcraft Highland Heather's the Wild Salmon, I think it is, colourway. And I've just got to so this has taken up the majority of my time. I really wanted to get it finished around childcare and holidays, etc. Some of my knitting time was reduced, so I have been working really hard to get this one done. So the work on my harvest cardigan has been stalled quite a lot. So anyway, I have got to the point now where I need to, the next thing is to split for the sleeves. So I need to watch the video. Tin Can Knits comes with access to their app, and there are extension videos that you can click on for each new technique. I need to split for the sleeves. I've never done this top down jumper or sweater or cardigan before, so I need to watch that to learn how to do the splitting of those. And then I think it's pretty much back forth in stocking stitch, so until I go to pick back up the sleeves. So it should be a fairly easy, she says, TV kind of evenings project once I get to that bit. So my plan is that this afternoon or tomorrow morning I will do that, and then I'll be able to concentrate on doing the cardigan. My other whip is my latest square for my Sweet Shop blanket. So this is my latest one. You may recognize this yarn. This is the Forest Berries from Jibby Roo Yarns. It's the leftover, it's some of the leftover yarn I had from my last pair of socks. So I thought I'd put a square of that into my Sweet Shop, which I am like, that's one of my September squares. So I am fully up to date on my blanket. And my plan of doing 2 squares a month and making sure that I stay on track is worked perfectly. So January, February, March. So this is where I was. So it goes, just fold those 2 down. So this is for the start of the year, and then I think I was on this one when I last podcast, I think. And then now I've just finished these 2. So these were August's. So this is some s'mores from Bird Street Yarns. This one is the leftover yarn from this, a tiny bit left over of this, of the pixie yarns and the blue fern yarns held together. And I think it's worked out really lovely, actually. I really like how they've held together really, really nicely. And then that's my s'mores one, which was meant to be my chicken. We don't talk about the chicken. The chicken is still very much in hibernation. The chicken shall remain in hibernation. No more about the chicken. The chicken came out of hibernation. I will talk about the chicken. The chicken came out of hibernation, ended up back on the naughty step, unravelled again. And so the chicken is very firmly back in hibernation. And I think will remain there. Yes. Enough of the chicken. So on to purchases. So I was really lucky. On Friday morning, Mum and I got in the car and travelled from Cornwall up to Newbury in Berkshire, because on the Saturday we were going to the Southern Wool Festival. Never been to this festival before, have heard really good things about it. Spoke to James Makes Yarn at the East Anglian Yarn Festival, and he said, oh no, you must come to Southern Wool Festival, it's really, really lovely. So we bought tickets and subsequently travelled up. And then on Friday night we were really lucky. So some of you may recall that when I went to Wonderwool with my friend Jen, we met up with fellow podcaster Jill from Emerald Cottage for a cup of tea and a cup of coffee, and had a lovely time, and just wished that we'd had much longer to chat, despite the freezing temperatures at Wonderwool. So prior to going to the Southern Wool Festival, we decided that we would go out for dinner on the Friday night. So we had a really lovely meal with Jill and her friend Kath, and just, yeah, really, really lovely evening. Time ran away with us. We were back quite late. It involved a really, really interesting back route way of travelling. The motorway was shut. I travelled from Newbury to Reading to go and have dinner, easy, and then when we came out, the motorway had been closed, so we had a really lovely rural pitch black tour of the back roads of between Reading and Newbury. Saw lots of wildlife, deer, rabbits, you name it, we saw it. But we had such a really, really lovely evening. Lots of chatter, nice food, just friendship. And I just think that goes to show what kind of benefits and fruititious things that can come from just a simple thing as a podcast. So yeah, I'm loving my space on the internet. I'm just well aware that I'm coming up to a year of podcasting nearly next month, and yeah, it's just been amazing. It's changed how I am. I think I'm a little bit more confident than I was. Still have tremendous imposter syndrome when I do this. Still very shy when I'm recording out in public. I didn't blog at all at the Southern Wool show. I just felt really, really kind of conscious of it. But I was really fortunate on the Saturday. So we went to the Southern Wool show on the Saturday. We got up, we saw Jill and Kath again, and then I was really lucky. We saw Ali from Little Drops of Wonderful, and then bumped into Gaynor from Tales from Cuckoo Land, and just Gaynor is just in person exactly what she is on screen, just lovely, and yeah, just had a wonderful day. So I will highly recommend it. The parking is brilliant. Access really good, loads of facilities. Yeah, it's just a really, really lovely show. And so I knew that I was going, had spoken to James Makes Yarn about attending, and had been plaguing the poor man to make, you may remember, I had made a scarf. If you're a returning viewer, I had made a scarf out of a wonderful colourway of his called Malibu Barbie, and I wanted to make a Musselburgh hat out of the same yarn. And so I harassed him until he decided to dye some, and I was over the moon when he decided to dye some more. So obviously I had to go and purchase some of this from James, wonderful dyer. I just love this. And then about a week, maybe just over a week before the Southern Wool show, James put on his Instagram that he had made another colourway called Walking Primrose, and just so I, like a crazy woman, texted him and said, please can you bring me a skein of this to the Southern Wool show as well. And he did, because he's just wonderful. So I've got this in DK, and 10% of these profits go to the breast cancer charity, because it's inspired by Girls Aloud. So it's just delightful. So now I'm not sure, because it would make sense to make my muscle bra in this because it will match my scarf, but equally I love this one, and I'm not sure what I'm going to make with this yet. If not, maybe some mittens. There are more mittens coming out my ears than anything. Whilst at the Southern Wool show, I have also decided this year I made a Maxine hot water bottle cover designed by Laura Penrose. You probably are fully aware of this. I made it in the pink colourway, in pink, and I'll show you, I'll pop a picture up here, and I love it. But I seem to have gone completely off gauge with mine, and luckily I had a smaller hot water bottle, not a tiny one, a kind of middle-sized one, and it fits that perfectly. But I really want one to fit our normal sized hot water bottle. So whilst at Southern Wool show, I poodled on along to Lay Family Yarn, got my hug from Kelly. Kelly's just the most amazing human. If you have never visited them either in their studio or at a stand at this show, you must do so. Just a delight, and their yarn is just wonderful. I am a big advocate. And so I got this being blown out slightly. I got these colours. So I've got a set of yarn, this colour. There's more on that later. And so I'm going to make a hot water bottle using these colours as my accent colours for the hot water bottle. And Kelly and I were stood there for a long time matching them up and moving them around and like crazy women taking photographs. So I'm really looking forward to that as well. I also was during some holidays was fortunate enough to go stay with my sister in Telford, which is a stone's throw away from Nick and Kelly's Lay Family Yarn studio. That was the first port of call on the Sunday. I have great plans to make a Padstow cardigan when it is released. Victoria Marchant put out a test call earlier in the year for testers to knit the Padstow cardigan. As many of you know, if you're a returning viewer, I am a very confident crocheter. I'm not an overly confident or competent knitter, and didn't feel that it was fair for myself as a beginner knitter, I would class myself as a beginner, to take on the task of doing a test knit for someone. I just don't think it's very fair. I wouldn't be able to tell if there was a problem if it was myself doing something wrong, or if it was a problem with the pattern. But equally, I know that this pattern is imminently about to be released in October time, and I'm really looking forward to it. So I purchased, and I'm going to put it here because I've left it in the house. I'm going to put a picture up here. I think it's in the colourway Pewter, and my plan is to hold that double with some strand of drops mohair or kid silk, and make the Padstow cardigan as soon as it's released. I used to live in Padstow. Obviously the Cornish stitcher shows my Cornish roots, and I just love the cardigan, so I can't wait to make it. I think it's going to be a challenge. It's not going to be easy. It's got some lace bits here. I don't think I've done a lace before, so it will be a challenge, and I may come on here and rue the day that I ever decided to make it. However, that's my plan. So I did buy some more yarn there, and then whilst at the Southern Wool show on Saturday, I also have plans to make a Tolster tee, but in a size 2 sizes smaller. I have restarted my Slimming World journey. As many of you know, I lost 7 stone. I've put on about 4.5 of it through stress, upheaval, life, and have rejoined Slimming World, and I'm back on the wagon, so to speak. And so but I don't want to make something in hand-dyed yarn that I'm not going to be able to wear, because hopefully I will lose the weight. Therefore, I purchased just 2 skeins. I bought the pattern for the Tolster tee by Rebecca Clow from the Creabia, and my plan is to make it in this colourway. Beautiful, beautiful yarn from Bird Street Yarns, and it's called Fame, and I made sure I bought enough fingering weight to make the fingering weight Tolster in 2 sizes smaller. I think it's not going to go imminently onto my needles anyway. There are things ahead of it in the queue, but equally I just love this colour, so I purchased it whilst I was there. It's an incentive. Hand-dyed yarn is not inexpensive, and so an investment in 2 skeins of hand-dyed yarn for a particular project hopefully will spur me on. Like people put pictures of themselves in dresses on the fridge, I think I might put a photograph of this on the fridge, because I really want the Tolster tee to look good, and really want to be able to knit it in that. And my other plan is to make a granny go around cardigan. Now, I hadn't seen this cardigan before. I'm not quite sure how it had missed me, but it had, and I saw Davina from Little Workroom Crafts talking about it, and how she's made a white one. I have a load of this Stylecraft Recreate, which I thought initially I might make a solid 1 colour granny go round cardigan, but equally I've got a lot of this Colour Lab DK in this pink, which again seems to be, there we go, that's better. And so I'm thinking those 2 in some kind of stripy sequence, I'll pop a picture of it up here, will look quite good. Let me know your opinion if you think this would be, whether you think the cardigan would be better in just a grey. I do have enough to make just a grey. The problem is I've got 1 pink cardigan that I love wearing, 1 pink cardigan on the needles, and originally I thought I'll make another pink cardigan just out of this West Yorkshire Spinners, but I love pink. You may be able to tell I love pink. However, I don't want a 3rd solid pink cardigan, whereas I thought this could break it up a little bit and still give me my flash of pink and not make me into just a grey girl. I think grey washes me out a bit, but I will be grateful for any thoughts, any ideas, any hints or tips that anyone's got. Please pop them in the comments below. I will happily grab them and run with them, if they are around this. That would be amazing. So yes, a busy few weeks ahead. We're going to Yarndale. So this weekend coming is a Cornwall, it's only 3 years old, Cornwall Yarn Festival. I'm not planning on exhibiting there at all this year, but maybe planning on exhibiting there next year with my bags. So I'm going there very much with a business head on. That's not to say I won't buy any yarn. I don't think I've ever been to a yarn show and not bought yarn. I think that would be an unsurmountable feat. I don't think I could do it. No. Could I? Maybe. Probably not. And so then I'm going to Yarndale at the end of the month, and yeah, and then on the 5th of October, which is the day before Ethan turns 16, I am exhibiting with my project bags and my sewn items at 3 Bags Full in Liskeard. So if you're anywhere near the southwest and you want to come and have a look, there are lots of yarn producers there. I'll pop the details down below, because there are also lots of workshops that happen in around Liskeard during the 2 weeks kind of either side of the show. And It's where I learned last year how to do my colour work cowl. You may remember I think my first podcast actually was on the day I was going to that workshop. I'll have to have a look, but I think it was. So yeah, it's really interesting few weeks, really busy few weeks, really interesting in development of the business. I am starting to look at printing my own fabrics rather than using ready purchased fabrics. So that's an interesting kind of lane for my business to go down, and more on that anon. But yes, as I said at the beginning, if you've liked what you've listened to and watched, then please give me a tick and a like, and press the subscribe button, and I endeavour to be back within the next couple of weeks. It will not be as long this next time. And yeah, I hope you're all well, and everybody to stay safe, and I'll see you soon. Okay, bye.